he is now raised and seated at the place of privilege at the right hand of God. What does that mean? If I could be with him there. We don't really have to question. The Apostle Paul is drawing on rich imagery that the people of the older world would have understood. It's actually explained much more explicitly in Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 11. There the writer of Hebrews explains what it means for Christ to be seated at the right hand of God. Verse 11, Hebrews 10. Every priest stands daily at his service, offering repeatedly the same sacrifices which can never take away sins. But when Christ had offered for all time a single sacrifice for sins, he sat down at the right hand of God. Now, if you've been with me as we've gone through the Bible in a year, you recognize that one of the profound things that was happening centuries before Jesus is his ministry was being explained to the people of God by the Old Testament tabernacle and temple system. Intricate detail given to us. We get so many details of the temple that are explaining the gospel. We even learn about what the tassels are on the robes of the priest to explain how the gospel will go to all nations. We get so much description of furniture and architecture and decoration, but there is one article of furniture that is never explained in the Old Testament temple, never given. What is the one article of furniture never described? No chair. Why no chair? Day after day, the priests stand performing their religious duties. Why? Because there's so much to do. At the Passover, hundreds of thousands of people are going up the southern steps of the temple, making sacrifices to God. There had to be thousands and thousands every hour of the Passover celebration. So much to do. And that is just one of the celebrations that occurred every year. There are not just annual sacrifices that occur. Every season, first fruits in the springtime, when you begin to see the fields coming with their fruit, the first fruits were taken and sacrificed to God. At the end of the harvest season, there were the harvest fruits that were taken and sacrificed to God. But there weren't just seasonal sacrifices. Every month, every new moon, there were sacrifices. And not just every month, but every week on the Sabbath day, there were to be sacrifices. And not just weekly, every day there were to be not just every day, every morning and evening of every day. And not just for people in general. You had to bring sacrifices for your own sin. If you were guilty of something, you had to make a sacrifice. What if you didn't know what you had done or could not remember it? You had to bring the sacrifices for the unknown sins. Unknown sins, known sins, every morning, every evening, every day, every week, every month, every season, every year, for 1,500 years. And the blood ran in the ditches, and the smoke fills the heavens, and the priest could not even sit down for the work until 1 year, one lamb went up a hill called Calvary, and he offered himself upon a cross. And when he did, the Holy of Holies veil was split from top to bottom, and God says, you now have access to me. And the fires on the altar went out, and the sacrificing was done, and the high priest sat down. And Jesus said, if you're with me, I'm at the right hand of God, and I'm sitting down. What does that mean for you and for me? It means the wrestling is done. The fighting is over. God, what am I going to do to make you happy? When are you going to be satisfied? How much money? How much sacrifice? How many tears until you're happy? And he says, sit down.